Mike from All That Remains, and this is Antihero Online.
Let's just jump right into it. At its core, All That Remains is a metal band. What made the band want to cover a Garth Brooks song at this point in your career?
That was mainly Phil's idea. He was, I actually heard him talking about the other day. He was talking about how him and his mom could never agree when he was a kid on what song to put out on the radio when they were in the car together, and he always hated country, and for some reason when he was a kid, the only thing he would tolerate was Garth Brooks. So I guess the Thunder Rolls has been something he's liked as a kid for a long time. So it's been on. He's definitely mentioned that song in the past as like something to cover, but it was kind of something we never really took seriously. And then this time around, we actually did it. So far, it's been working out.
What was the mindset of the band when you went into the studio to begin production on this song?
I think the first run through that we did was very extremely similar to the original, and we all kind of felt like it was like, I don't know, just a little too similar, a little boring. And Ollie went back and kind of spiced it up a little bit with some heaviness and some guitar solos and stuff, and I thought it was a really cool. It's just nice to. I like doing covers close to the originals, but it's nice to put a little bit of a twist on there to make it unique to the style of our band. So Ollie kind of really put the little cool extra stuff in there to make it stand out.
As a guitarist, how hard was it for you to translate the song into a metal-based recording? There wasn't really much foundation to kind of work on. And also, what was your thought process when it came to adding your own personal touch to the riff?
That stuff's never actually been hard for me. I always hear, even if it's pop songs, I've always heard in my head songs and I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to cover. It's always kind of translated to me easily how to make it, how I can make it heavier or kind of turn it into more of a metal kind of thing. So I don't know. That stuff's always come naturally. It's just been if I just hear a certain rhythm or something like that, it really can. That's all I really need to make it, something more in our style. But like I said before, it wasn't. I don't know exactly what Ollie was thinking, but all of the heavier stuff was, musically was his idea.
Could this be the start of something for you guys in the future to kind of add maybe an extra cover song to a record as a nod to the people that kind of guided the way for the band and the founding fathers of rock?
Yeah, it's just hard to choose. I know when I joined the band, we were playing Creeping Death live by Metallica, and that was always fun to play live, but I think it's kind of more fun to do something completely out of, the genre of what we're into. It's fun to cover Metallica songs, but when you do something I know I Prevail had a huge hit with that. They did a Taylor Swift song, and I don't know. So a lot of times I think the biggest covers are from songs that you just don't expect bands to cover. I don't think anybody really expected Alien Ant Farm to do Smooth Criminal, and that's probably still their biggest song to this day. So
Totally.
That's cool to do just other styles of music. We're playing heavy stuff 99% of the time, so it's nice to do something different.
And that kind of leads me to my next part of my next question. What made the band want to add the female vocals to the song instead of just having Phil carrying the song by himself?
She was in the studio with us at the same time, and I think if there's an extra good singer around and you can take advantage of that, you might as well. And she was nice enough to do it. It was a very on the fly thing. So when you have an option, that's not always an option. Sometimes you got to fly somebody out or you got to pay somebody money or whatever. It's just she was just there. So it was cool. If you're a great singer, so go ahead and sing.
With the collaboration on this track, is there a possibility to maybe collaborate a little bit more in the future with her?
Oh, God, I guess timing-wise, it would all depend on what studio we're at or, who's where. But it's always a possibility, absolutely.
The fan response to the song has been a little on the plus and minus side. Some people like it, it's a risk, they took it, they made it their own, and then some people are just like, man, Garth Brooks did it better. When it comes to the feedback like that, how does the band kind of react to that?
We've had feedback like that on pretty much everything we've done since 2006. So we just don't react to it. We just keep on going. It's the same old stuff. Everything we put out is, if we put out a heavy song, it's, why don't you go back to singing and writing a radio song? At least that shows some talent. And then if we put out a radio song, they're just like, you guys are sellouts now. Why don't you go back to writing heavy songs? And from the moment we had a clean vocal, actually probably even back to 2004 or 3, from the moment there was one clean vocal, we started hearing there was always the plus minus, some good, some bad reactions. So it's just something we're completely used to at this point.
And is that just kind of like the evolution of the band over the time? I mean, we've seen it a lot with bands like Linkin Park experimenting, kind of changing their sound and growing as the music changes. Is that the same thing with All That Remains?
Yeah, well, it's just, what are you going to do? It's 8 records. Do you just show, I know being in a band, I know being on tour, sometimes you're playing so many shows, it feels like you're punching a clock, but when it comes to sitting down and writing music, it's just like, I know some bands can write the same record over and over again, and it works, and I guess if it keeps working, why are you going to change? But that's never really been our thing. Every record of ours has a different sound to it. It doesn't really stay the same. A Slayer record, you kind of know what you're going to get. It's kind of, they write a certain style of thrash metal, and when it's going to come out, it's going to be in that style, and it's not going to be any big surprises. But that's never really been the way we've gone about it. And plus, if we wrote 8 records that all sound the same, everyone would bitch about that. So it just goes back to you're never going to keep everybody happy.
You just gotta, as a musician, you gotta create the music that makes you happy, and hopefully the fans can respect where you guys are coming from at that time.
Yeah, we talked to tons of kids on tour and stuff that are just like, I love that I don't know what to expect every time you guys put something out, But those are the people that like us, so obviously they're going to have positive things to say. The internet is, the majority of the internet is negativity. So you go online, but even if you look at the Garth Brooks video on YouTube right now, you can't really complain if it's got 30, I think I just looked, it was like 35,000 likes and like 2,000 dislikes. So it's like, of the people that took the time to hit the like or dislike button, I think the ratio is still pretty much in our favor. So that's nothing to complain about,
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it just goes to show that you guys did something that people like. If it was more dislikes than likes, then it might be something that's totally different.
And yeah, and the same goes for our biggest songs. What If I Was Nothing? In 2 weeks, we've taken you can probably go online and see the most negativity out of those 2 songs, but they're our biggest songs. So, hard to pay attention to the negativity all the time when you're getting so much positive results out of it.
And do you guys kind of like take that negativity and use it as fuel just to keep creating records and making the sound of the band more full?
Not so much. I think we're just smart enough to know to just keep doing what we want to do. It's very easy to hear. It's very easy to hear 5 or 10 comments online that say, "You suck now. Go be heavy. Go be heavy again." It'd be very easy to go, "Oh man, people hate us. Let's go. Okay, let's go write a death metal record." But then you go on Spotify and there's the top 5 songs have 50 million plays, and they're all the singing songs. So it's like there's every style of song on every record still. So the main problem that we run into now is that nobody listens to the full albums. So even though there's 5 or 6 really heavy songs on every single record still, a lot of people they just hear whatever got dropped as a single. And obviously the radio is going to play the lighter stuff. That's what the radio does. They're not going to play the heaviest song on the record. It's never been that way. It's not that way for Slipknot. It's not that way for Metallica. So that's just the way it is. And people hear the single, which is usually the lighter song, and they just go, "Oh, okay, they're not heavy anymore." But
yeah,
too much stuff on the iPhone to pay attention to, so nobody's really listening to the whole record anymore.
And can you kind of like contribute that to the digital age when it comes to music? Like people can, instead of having to listen to an entire record to get to the song that was released as a single, they can just go on Spotify and play that single, go on iTunes, download it, and Google Play and those types of music services.
Yep, it's just there's just too much It's like when you have every record ever created now, it's like, I mean, why bother? And you talk to younger people too, and they don't know. They know tons of songs, and if you ask them who does the songs, most of them don't know the names of the band. We've played shows before where I've seen people booing us in the front row, and then at the end of the show, we play 2 weeks, and they're singing the words because when we started playing that night, they didn't know who we were, and then they hear a couple songs that they know, and they go, "Oh man, that's this band," and then they're singing the song. It just really boils down to there's too much entertainment, and no one's really paying attention nearly as much as you used to because there's just too much going on. So the full records are a complete waste of time.
And I was actually talking to Brian Slagle from Metal Blade Records a couple of weeks ago, and he said that with the way that the digital age is affecting music, it's easier for bands to release a single every couple of months than it is to go into the studio, disappear for a year or two, record a new album, and then when they released a new album, people kind of forgot who they were.
Yeah, it's just you're when you take a year off to do a record, you're slaving away at these songs. There's 10 or 12 or 14 of them, and you're busting your ass on all this stuff, and you're at rehearsal every day, and it really feels like while you're writing them nowadays. We didn't think about it like 10 years ago, but now we're literally like at practice going, well, there's no reason to kill ourselves over this song because it's super heavy and no one's going to hear it. It's a bummer to think that way, but like really there's just about nobody. It's just like there's just nothing there for full records. It's like I would love for it to come back, but I don't see it happening.
Oh yeah. And that's pretty much everything that I have for you. I'm kind of running out of time here. I wanted to thank you, but I wanted to also give you an opportunity to plug away. So if there's anything that you have that I left out that you would like to plug.
Oh, I would just say pay attention to the tour dates online. We get tons of people that are always like, why don't you ever come here? And we're usually like there the day before. It's just usually because people aren't, like I said, they're not paying attention. So if you want to come and see us, just pay attention. The tour dates will be, we've got a lot more dates getting announced really soon, actually. So just be on the lookout for that.